So, some perfect square trinomials would be x plus 1 all squared. To make it a trinomial, we would FOIL it. X plus 1 times x plus 1. So that would be x squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1, which equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. So if I rewrote another one, x plus 2 squared would have to be x plus 2 times x plus 2, which makes x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4, which is x squared plus 4x plus 4. So you can see there's always two of these middle terms that go together. So if I had x squared plus 6x plus 9, it would have to be x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9, which in turn would make x plus 3 times x plus 3, or x plus 3 all squared. If I change the middle sign to a minus, then I'd have x minus 5 times x minus 5, and of course the only thing that's going to change are the minus 5's. So I would get x squared minus 10x plus 25. So I should be able to take a perfect square trinomial and rewrite it as something squared. If it's a minus over here, then it's going to be a minus over here. So we hopefully can see the patterns that are forming there with all of those perfect square trinomials. Remember, the trinomial is something with three terms, and then it's a perfect square trinomial, so it'll factor into a single binomial squared. All right, so I can use this idea then to help me solve the problems down below. Okay, so this then has to be one of these that I have up here, x squared plus 12x plus 36. How does that factor? Well, it has to factor into x plus 6 times x plus 6, which in turn makes x plus 6 all squared. Now, how do I undo a square? I square root, and I have to remember plus and minus. So plus or minus 9 is equal to x plus 6. Subtracting the 6, I will solve the equation for x. So positive 9 minus 6 is 3, and negative 9 minus 6 is negative 15. On this one, same idea. We can make this x plus 2 squared equals 25. Square root both sides, and we get x plus 2 equals plus or minus 5. Remember, plus or minus. Minus the 2, and we'll have our answer. X equals negative 5 minus 2 would be the negative 7. 5 minus 2 will be the 3. On the last one, again, factor this into something squared. X minus 9 has to be 9, and it's minus in the middle, so it has to be a minus. These were plus, so it's plus in the middle. This is plus, plus in the middle. Over here then, square root, plus or minus, x minus 9 equals plus or minus 2. Add the 9, minus 2 plus 9 would be a plus 7. Plus 2 plus 9 is a positive 11. Let's flip it over. Okay, let's try and use the same idea, but we see here that we don't have a perfect square. Let's subtract that over. To make this a perfect square, I have to add something. Well, if I add it to one side, I must add it to the other. So, let's see. If I remember, it has to be a 9. Divide the middle term by 2, square it. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. That's an easy way to do it. All right, so this has got to be x plus 3 squared. Negative 13 plus 9 is negative 4. Square root both sides. I see I have a negative under the square root, so I have to take out an I. Square root of 4 would be 2, and plus or minus. Now subtract the 3. So notice I do have two answers. X equals -3 plus or minus 2i. Okay, try the same thing here. Add the 11. So x squared minus 6x plus something equals 11 plus something. Again, what's the something? Divide the middle term by 2. 3 squared, 9. So this becomes x minus 3 squared equals 11 plus 9 is 20. Square root both sides. And you get x minus 3 equals plus or minus. Now think about 20. That's 4 times 5. So the square root of 4 would be 2. And the square root of 5 I can't do. So it's 2 square roots of 5 plus or minus. Now I add the 3. Add the 3. I can't add the 3 to the irrational number. So it's going to be x equals 3 plus or minus 2 square roots of 5. All right, let's look at the last one. Same idea. 3 is not a perfect square. I'm going to subtract it. X squared minus 2x plus something equals -3 plus something. Okay, that something is a 1. You saw I was writing it there. 1. 1 on the left. I also need 1 on the right. Okay, we put x minus 1 squared equals -3 plus 1 is -2. Again, I have to square root plus or minus x minus 1 equals plus or minus. I can take the I out, square root of 2. Add the 1, add the 1. I can't add the 1 to the I, so it's 1 plus or minus I square roots of 2 equals x. Okay, we could use this technique to write the equation of in vertex form, y equals a times x minus h all squared plus k, and give the maximum opens down or minimum opens up value of the graph. We're going to use perfect square trinomials to try this. All right, so let's look at this guy. Doesn't look like we have a perfect square in the 2. So I'm going to factor the 2 out of the first two terms. 2 times x squared plus 6x plus something will make it a perfect square. We'll put the 9 out the outside. Okay, if I add something in here, I also have to add it on the other side. All right, so we're going to divide the middle term by 2. We get 3. 3 squared is 9. The number I'm really multiplying by is 9 times 2, or 18 is the number I'm really adding to both sides of the equation. Now I'm going to rewrite 2 times x plus 3 all squared plus 9 is equal to 18 plus y. Now I only want y in my equation, so I have to get rid of the 18. Let's subtract it from the 9, and we'll have 2 times x plus 3 squared minus 9 equals y. I now have my equation in vertex form. My vertex is -3, -9. My parabola is opening up because a is positive, so this is going to be a min. All right, let's try the middle one. Again, 2 is not a perfect square. I don't have anything to factor out, so I'm just going to go x squared plus x plus something plus 2 equals y. And I'm going to have to add something here. Okay, divide the middle term by 2 and square it. Oh, that's going to be 1/2. 1/2 squared is 1/4. If I add 1/4 here, there's nothing on the outside to multiply, so I'm adding 1/4 here. So I have y plus 1/4 equals, that was a half, wasn't it? X plus 1/2 squared plus 2. Got to get rid of the quarter. Have to just have y. Y equals x plus 1/2 squared, 2 minus a quarter, plus 1 3/4. So my vertex is -1/2 and 1 3/4. This is going up again, so this has got to be a min. Okay, let's look at this one. Oh, it's a negative. Got to be careful with the negative. Let's factor that out. -3 times x squared, took the negative out, so there's a plus left, 3x plus something plus 7. Remember, I got to add something here. All right, so I got to divide the middle term by 2 and square it. 3 squared, 9. 2 squared, 4. So I'm adding 9/4. But I multiplied by -3. So really I'm adding a -27/4. So I got to add that over here as well.